This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to this week's episode of the 22 Dropouts, where we are going to talk a bit more rugby. Who'd have thought that when we made that New Year's resolution 6-7 weeks ago, that we would still actually be doing it and we would be talking about rugby? And I've only got my friends to thank for that. So welcome, friends. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, they're not that good, are they?
What on earth would we talk about if we weren't talking about rugby?
Jen, you've not watched episodes 1 to 34,
Bottom over your left shoulder, Jen.
No. Yeah.
Not.
So just go back and watch episodes 1 to 34 and you'll find out that we talked fuck all rugby for 32 weeks. Jen, I'm going to come to you first.
From about episode 34 onwards, it's always been about Pete's antics. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was for another 6 episodes, and now we're talking about rugby.
A lot of material there.
There's a huge amount of material there. Talking about material, let's have a look at the bottom tonight.
Jen's
bottom.
Your bottom, Jen.
Oh, that bottom. We've
That
seen
bottom.
that one before.
Well, whichever one you want to show us, I don't mind, obviously.
Yeah, that's the same one that we had the first week.
Yeah, no, I'm disappointed in you
nice
tonight.
I mean, it's a nice one. There's a reason why it's the one that's in a frame.
And why is that?
Because it's nice.
Oh.
You could bounce a penny off that.
That's the bottom you want to spank, isn't it, Jen?
No,
Sorry. Whoa. Jules, did you just say that's the bottom I want to spank?
No, I said that's the bottom you want to spank, Jen.
no.
I'm not sure it came across that way. I mean, it may have been the internet
Play
lag
it back,
or something.
play it back, mate. Play it back.
He's getting a bit defensive.
Either that
there.
or it's my internet playing up again.
How are you doing, Pete?
I got no excuse now.
No, let's just leave Julian to his moaning and whining. How are you, Pete?
all good. I watched all the rugby this weekend, so can even partake in this now.
Are you getting used to what we do now?
Yeah, the WhatsApp thing. I'll probably clue on every 20 odd minutes or so when there's an injury or something. But it was there was some decent games of rugby over the weekend. There was some good results. I thought it was some good results. So,
Yeah, I thought it was a lot more competitive this week, to be fair, across all 3 of the Six Nations games. What about you, Sam? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought the games were all very competitive. I was very impressed with how Italy started. It's just a shame that it didn't continue, unfortunately. But yeah, even the Scotland-Wales game was a very, very good game right throughout the whole 80 minutes. It was still a cracking game, even though there was certain parts that were obviously a bit not sure about that one, but there you go. Yeah, even the Ireland-France game, cracking game of rugby as well. Let's be honest.
Now, did you notice how Sam was quite taken aback there when we came to and actually asked him after 3 minutes of the show for his opinion this week, considering he did wait until about 33 minutes last week.
I'm actually quite impressed. Yeah. I'm quite impressed. 1, you didn't mute him, and 2, we didn't need subtitles.
Yeah. No, but I tell you what, mate, if your internet gets any slower, we're going to put subtitles over the top of you tonight. So come on, while you've got a sort of internet, Jules, say hello to the viewers.
Hello, viewer.
There we go. There's Papa Smurf. No, you were right the first time. Now, Jules.
Yeah.
Remind me, was there a wager on for this week between you and Samuel as to which one of you was going to win the Six Nations game?
I think there was, but I can't remember what we bet.
Well, we bet Sam wouldn't drink something that he doesn't like. Who was it who shouted apple juice last week?
I do remember now, yeah.
Somebody went, that's apple juice for me.
I actually don't remember what the bet was, to be honest. But
I think you should. I think you should have a. Well, yeah, you can't make him drink whiskey as a forfeit, for crying out loud.
Well, I could make him drink Irish whiskey.
No, I don't think he'd mind that. To be fair,
I don't think he'd complain though.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd complain either. So that's not a good forfeit.
It's quite good as well.
I'm sure.
Hang on a minute. Whoa! Time out. Welsh whiskey?
Yeah, there is a Welsh whiskey. There is a Welsh whiskey, and it is.
I got a bottle of Pendel in here.
Mate, it's
very good.
I've had it, and it's absolutely dire. It is that bad.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Sam, for backing it up.
This is going to sound terrible coming from a Scotsman, but the English whiskey is actually better than the Welsh one.
Oh,
you'll be drinking some piss then, mate, because I've drunk the Welsh stuff and it's pretty good.
No, I'm just playing.
I've drunk Irish whiskey and Scottish whiskey, and they're both fucking horrible. So there you go.
You just don't like whiskey.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So while we're on the subject, Jules, do tell us, because you two are going to be complete pussies this week, and neither of you is going to go, yeah, I remember what the forfeit was. It's not like Sam didn't remember last week what my forfeit was going to be, even though he did make it up on the spot. He insisted.
I did not.
Supposed to be.
He fucking did, and he knows.
I did not make that up on the spot.
You made it up in your own head.
No, now, I knew you don't like whiskey, so there was definitely.
I know, you bastard. I know. Now, you two, well, especially Julie, because you were victorious, I believe, at the weekend over the
absolute
Scots.
Slaughter by 1 point and one player.
A win's a win. Now, could you do it against 15?
Well, I would say we'll find out next weekend, but I'm pretty sure we got Farrell lined up for the card next weekend.
Well, he's been lined up for several weeks. So, now, Jules, do take us to you two. The spotlight's on you. Take us through the game a bit. Highlights and lowlights for you in the Wales-Scotland game.
Highlights were Liam Williams and Rhys Dammett's 2 tries. And the low light was I wasn't holding my breath to the game, but I was shitting myself from the start. So I was basically holding in a fart for 80 minutes.
And to be fair, your responses on the WhatsApp group were getting tighter and tighter and more terse and more pointed as the game went on. And in that last sort of 15 minutes, you did.
That's down to the fact that more and more Scotsmen were having a dig at me on WhatsApp and other conversations.
You didn't want to reply in the last 15 minutes. It was a bit tight. But Louis Rees-Zammit, why the fuck is he not playing for England?
Because he's Welsh.
Is he?
And he's Maltese.
Well, we know why he's not playing for Malta then, don't we, Sam?
Yeah, Malta have got an absolute brilliant international side, haven't they?
Ah.
They actually do, believe it or not.
Actually, yeah, because they import one of the national panel referees from England, from the RFU, to go and play fullback for them.
Yeah, because he's Maltese.
Yeah. Well, part Maltese. So he does like taking a couple of weeks off from refereeing and going and getting himself beaten up by Croatians and things like that.
Well, I've been a match official for Malta, for the Malta national side.
Very good.
We're scraping the barrel now, aren't we? Scraping the barrel.
I tell you what, mate, Malta's actually a very good side and they're ranked 38th in the world, mate. So considering, 110 in the world rankings, is it? 38's not bad.
Yeah, about that now.
Well, that's where Scotland is, 110.
No, that's Malta. No, that's not Scotland. Chop.
Finland was at the bottom for a long time.
I'm trying to confuse
Finland
me.
were number 100. So when I refereed Finland, I've refereed Finland a couple of times now. One time I refereed them, they were playing Norway, and Finland were ranked 100 out of 100, and Norway were ranked 99.
No.
So I got to referee the 2 bottom-ranked teams in the world at that time.
Basement battle.
At least you can add them up and go, mine was the highest ranked. It was 109. It's 199. That's more caps than he's got this weekend. No, Louis Rees-Zammit was absolutely phenomenal, and he has been for a very long time. He's going to be a very prodigious talent, I think. Well, he already is.
He's still made some mistakes. He still
Well, don't we all?
He made a defensive error when he let Hoggy in for the second try. He missed his tackle and whatnot, his first up tackle, but he is a light in a dark place for Wales at the moment. He's a really, really talented winger. And he's only just been working on his speed for the last year. So imagine what he's going to do when he actually, gets some real speed about him and whatnot. So
speed, mate. He left you lot back in the fucking car park when he went down the wing.
Yeah, well,
you might as well have been on the bus.
He was on the halfway line when he went. I watched a clip from the Gloucester-Worcester game of him because it came on straight after the replay of that the Wales game try, and he went past some of the guys in Worcester. I was like, Jesus Christ, how fast is he?
Yeah, I'm not denying how quick he is. He's a very, very quick lad. All I'm saying is that he's only been working on his speed for the last season, right here. So he's still got a lot.
He's only 12.
Sam, can I just say one thing, right? Is that you just described Wales as a real dark hole. And you said that as Rees-Zammit was the only bright light. You are the most sour, grey, dour Scotsman.
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
You lost on Saturday by 1 point. Suck it, right? By 14 men as well. Okay.
Did you have your Wales shirt on this weekend?
What I'm saying is that Wales have not been in a good place for the last sort of 6 months to a year, and he is a bright light coming out of there at the moment, and he's helping lift the team up, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he's a 20-year-old kid, and that's what they want, and that's what they need. And I hope that the coach keeps the young lads coming through. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, the ups and downs of the Scotland-Wales game.
There was no ups or downs. It was just an ups.
Two good tries, I think, from Scotland as well, with the little chip from the kick through from the scrum half of Scotland for the first try. And that wasn't planned or nothing. What a great angle the centre took in. He just took it really well. And I think Huggy's try, the first one, where the scrum on the 10-metre line, they ended up getting the ball out. It was probably 30 odd metres out or something, I think Hoggy got it at. And he just raced down the side, kicked it through. Unfortunately for the Welsh defence, went down to get the ball and missed it. So the ball just kept on going. He followed through and he got a good score out of it. But he
9 times out of 10 he would have taken that, and he just had to mess it up with Hoggy running at him.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? But these things happened, and Hoggy kept on chasing, followed through, and bloody good try. But I mean,
those small margins win and lose games, isn't it?
Zamik's try, individual, was just absolutely brilliant. Fantastic try.
Does anybody think that if Scotland had lost last weekend to England, Sam would have been half as gracious as he is now?
Oh, fuck no. And I'm not going to be anywhere near as gracious.
Fuck no. I love that answer.
I'm not. You know what, mate? You're saying being gracious. I think to be absolutely fair, it was a cracking game of rugby, and even though there was a red card in the game, which after looking and watching it again today, it is a red card, granted. It did look like it could have been yellow with the mitigation because the player did lift, and there was a decent lift, I thought, for about 6 inches to a foot. They lifted up, so there could have been mitigation, but there wasn't, so that's fair enough. I mean, the fact that he had his arm in a slingshot position didn't help him. He didn't bind, so that's what sort of put the nail in the coffin, I think, for the red.
Sam, what part of mitigation where you're running from 7 to 10 meters at full speed to slot somebody with your shoulder towards a head, okay, and the ball was already won?
Yeah, the ball wasn't.
There is no mitigation at all. The ball was already won.
The ball had not been won, and yes, he did have a clear line of sight.
He did
come about from about 7 meters out, granted. However, there was a lift in the player. He did come up about, hook, line and sinkers, get lost. But he did lift, and there was a good 6 inches to a foot lift. So if he'd stayed in that position, it wouldn't even caught his head.
Okay, right. So
That's the game. That's the game. It's small.
Wait.
margin.
We actually have a prop in the room. Jen, what would you have done?
You'd run up and punched him.
If I'd been hit in the head, I would have sent Mick on him. That's her job. Or Edith if she was playing.
Would you have got red carded for that?
Well, I've only ever been yellow carded once.
And we can change that. We're going to change
Not
that.
by me.
Yeah,
No, it was
obviously,
Imran.
obviously you've never had a netter referee. Yeah?
Who?
A netter.
Aneta.
No. Don't
No,
worry.
she's a female card dealer of the Eastern Bloc.
Out of Poland. Yeah.
She belongs in a casino.
Refereed at Stockholm Tens many times, Jen.
Yeah.
Well,
She,
maybe she's refed me then, but she hasn't
It
carded
probably
me.
was her that yellow carded you.
No, it was Imran.
Was it Imran? Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to the red card. I'm not being funny, but even with the red card, it was still a cracking game of rugby. I expected Wales to run away with it, but they didn't. And all fairness to Scotland, they stuck in it and they played right to the death. And if it wasn't for the unfortunate, the offload and Williams just knocked it back out of the hands going into, I think it was Finn Russell's hand or something like that, down right at the very end of the match. Hey, it could have been easily a Scotland win. So cracking game of rugby right through. 1 point game. I'll say this, I don't think Wales would have won if there wasn't the red card.
I'm just glad that Owen Watkin made up for his little missed tackle from your drive.
That's all. Yeah, that's all.
And made that tap.
Yeah.
So,
Right, okay.
Absolutely outstanding tap tackle. Fantastic tackle.
Yeah, it
Grand
was.
Slam for Wales then.
Yeah.
No, France. Hate to say it, but France.
France? What about France?
I fancy France to get the Grand Slam. I think they'll beat England.
Yeah, I agree.
If they play their way.
Scotland can do it. Sorry, Sam, I couldn't resist.
That's okay, mate.
Anyway, listen. Before we go to the break, because we are due a break
It's only been 31
right now.
years. It's only been 31 years since we won a Grand Slam, isn't it?
Well, you've got to wait another 7 because it was 38 before you won at Twickenham, so it's going to be 38 before you get a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So listen, just on that mitigation point. So I've spoken to a number of the World Rugby referees since the weekend about this, and we know that Carl, who was in the truck on the day, was just trying to get Matt to make sure he considered everything. I know there's a lot of speculation on social media. In fact, there was speculation on our channels that that was more about he wants him to come down. Now, that's not the case.
See, that's even what Gregor Townsend said in the interview after the game.
No, it's not the case. It's more about making sure the ref had considered everything rather than miss something. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Because we're going to go to a break in a second. We'll pick it up afterwards. But the fact is, was it always going to be illegal? Yes. Therefore, there is no mitigation. So even if that player had not been lifted upwards, it would have still been an illegal charge into the ruck from distance with a potentially high degree of danger. Now, I accept the fact that he could have, because of the change in height of the Welsh player, he could have actually sailed over the top. But he's going to get pinged regardless because it was always illegal.
It would have just been a penalty.
Well, no, I think that would be, if he'd have gone in at that speed with his arm tucked and just narrowly missed somebody, I'd have yellow carded him for that because it was always illegal. Always illegal.
Fair enough.
The fact that he then connected with a head and there's only one person who's at fault there, you can't say it's, and I know it's a tricky one to get your head round. Well, he was lifted up and that's why it connected. Yes, but regardless of whether it was up or down, that guy's actions were always illegal and they were always dangerous and there was always a high degree of danger. And that's why you have to go red because you take the mitigation out at that point. And it's tough and it's a bit of a change as well, but it's a change that we've all got to get used to and it's a change that the players have all got to get used to as well.
At the end of the day, it's the same as, what's his name for the Ireland the week before? That got red carded for the clear out. They're professional players. They've got to have a sense of safety in regards to other people's players. If we're not careful, players will end up getting done for GBH.
I'm just a lot more pissed off with the Scottish one because I had him in my fantasy rugby team.
Now, there is a great place to leave this part of the show. The fact that Jules has got a fantasy rugby team. We'll see you straight after this break. Back in a minute.
And he's Scottish.
And he's Scottish. See you in a minute. When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AxiWe AT350.
Radios are always useful, they always help us, especially AxiWe's, where all three of us can be open at any time, we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide. Welcome back to part 2 of the 22 dropouts. During the break, as always, we have much more fun than you're about to see. But it is nearly our 1 year anniversary, and for that show, or just as a special, at least, we're going to have an outtakes episode, so you might just get a glimpse of what we talk about in the break. But don't forget, in the meantime, to look up there, follow us on our social media channels. Jen, just show me where it is again, Jen, because you were so good at it last week. And what do they have to search when they're on social media, Jen?
22 dropouts.
At 22 dropouts, that's right. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But anyway, we've got to talk about the England-Italy game, which was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, just slightly. But first things first, Jules never got a chance to say, teammate, well done, congratulations on the win, bud.
Thank you.
Albeit
Well
against
played.
14 men by 1 point.
Scotland did make me shit myself.
Mate, listen. Can you imagine what he would have been like last week if if England had won by 1 point with Scotland with 14 men?
All I'm going to say
no
is
way
this.
we'd have said that to him, because he'd have been like a bear with two sore bollocks.
Well,
All I want to see is how
much
much Sam celebrated after the Italy try, the first one.
Yeah.
Say again, Jules.
How much did Sam celebrate after the first Italy try?
Oh, I was jumping up and down for joy the whole freaking.
Yeah, so was I.
I was like, yeah. Oh, I was like, that was after it was within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But to be fair,
Italia.
To be fair, what I put on the group chat, man, it was class. It was really class. And they've had a massive step up this year, and you can't take that away from them at all. They have done really well, and I'm really, really, really impressed by how they've come along, and the fact that they've gone for a young team as well, a young set of lads who are going to take it further into the future. Whereas England and Eddie is just still stuck with Youngs, Ford and Farrell.
I mean, to be honest, the Italian side, all of them make Lewis Rees-Zammit look old.
And how old is he?
He's 20.
Yeah.
So there is, I mean, like the one thing about the Italian coach, what he's done is that he can't prep his players as much as he wants to. So he's gone to the clubs in Italy and said, this is the way I want to coach the national side. Can you help me produce all the players to come along? And they've got like a framework in place where like Benetton and all that lot, they are working with the Italian national coach to develop Italy.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? About should we be saying, right, let's organise some games, a couple of tours here and there between Italy and England A, followed by Wales A, Ireland A, well, Scotland's first team, obviously. But no, I jest. So I'm just saying.
Listen to this. Scotland's first team. At least Wales turned up to the game against Scotland, unlike England last week, because you were shite.
Yeah, well, it was cold, mate. We didn't like it.
Moving on.
Yeah, we need the crowd.
All jesting aside, wouldn't it be great, though, to give Italy that, because they don't get enough experience of playing at top level. So if we could get them, or not us personally, although I'm sure the five of us here tonight would quite happily go and organise it for a few weeks over in Rome. I think we could cope with that. But wouldn't it be great if we got some of the tier one sides, their under 20s, their second string sides, to go and play Italy, just to give them that little bit extra experience.
I think
They'd be a bloody great
They play in
side.
the same fucking leagues as the Welsh and the Irish. They play in the same tournaments as all of us. They play in the bloody World Cup. They got the same opportunities of all of us.
They have, but how many of their players actually play? So okay, here we go then. Scotland. How many players play in the best league in the world?
Mike,
Premiership.
Mike, it's a simple thing. Italy is a football country.
Yeah. Listen, low numbers. I agree with you, Sam. Low numbers of rugby players, so we need to give them more opportunities. There's plenty of Welshmen. Lewis Rhys-Zammit does not play in Wales. Why? Because the Welsh League rugby is shit. There's Hoggy.
Well, the thing is,
Russell,
now he'll have to move to
don't
Wales
play
now
in
if he wants to
Scotland.
continue playing for Wales.
Do you know what, mate? I see where you're coming from, but really, would you fucking drop him because he played at Gloucester?
They'll have to. It's part of the rules, and it's the Welsh clubs that set the rules.
Come on. How? Yes, I know the Welsh clubs want the Welsh players there, but you're actually going to ruin somebody like Louis Rhys-Zammit by taking him away from the Gallagher Premiership and putting him in the Pro 14. You'll ruin him. You will, because he won't need to keep working as hard as he's working. He can lower his standards.
South Africans joining us.
He will lower his standards and still be the best fucking player in the league.
Nah.
It's as simple as that. Sorry, mate. That's just the fact.
Better look
everybody around the world says that the Gallagher Premiership is the toughest league competition.
I agree, it is, yes, but the Pro 14 is not a joke league either.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's not a joke league. It's a Mickey Mouse league.
Oh, shut up. Honestly.
Anyway, listen, we are supposed to be talking
let's get back to the.
Georgia and Romania will put their hands up, but that's kind of opening a can of worms.
Sorry, Jen. The ignorant Scot talked over you. Then say that again.
I was just saying, if we were trying to get Italy more games, I'm sure Georgia and Romania will be putting their hands up, but that's kind of opening another can of worms.
Yes, it is. No, you're right, because if Georgia starts suddenly beating Italy, on a three test basis, if they win all three, then they really can stick their hand up and say, "Oi, we want in to the Six Nations." So you're right. Politically, it's very difficult, but in terms of opportunity, and I get where you're coming from, Jules, but from their club rugby, I think we need to give them a little bit more. And this goes for Romania and Georgia as well. Those guys need that half step opportunity. And then he's back, by the way, Pete. Pete just wanted to know where Sam is, but he's down there now. He's back.
I thought you'd upset him.
We always upset him, but at least he stuck around last week, and we really fucking upset him last week, but he didn't disappear. Fair play, Sam. But anyway, England, Italy then. So let's just talk about that a little bit more then. Now,
right. Well, who was the ref? Mikey Adamson.
Yeah.
Right.
So we stop there. Should we stop there and just move on?
No. We should. So let's be honest. His first Six Nations game. How did he get on?
All right. From what
totally
I saw.
Out of his depth.
I think he done enough.
Very inconsistent.
I think he done
the way he let Owen Farrell talk to him.
Yeah.
Owen Farrell should have just been like, "You're off, mate."
I think he done enough. Although there's certain areas of the game that he needs to improve on. One of them being in control of the match, i.e., not let it get out of hand. Right. So, for example, with Farrell, and then secondly, what try are you allowed to jump into a tackle?
Okay, we'll come on to that.
No.
We'll come on to that in a moment. We'll talk
no,
about
no,
that.
No. We're talking about the England. We're talking about the England.
I know.
Game. So, are you allowed to jump in a tackle? Yes or no?
Yeah, but hang on. You started.
It wasn't a dive for the try. It wasn't a dive.
Right.
Jump.
Stop. Finish talking about Mike Adamson, and then we'll talk about the 3 England tries that probably should have been disallowed. Right. Okay. So the law says thou shall not jump into a tackle.
No, it doesn't.
What it does say, though, is you can dive for the line in the act of scoring or the attempted act of scoring a try. That was no dive for the line. That was a deliberate jump to avoid a tackle. which is illegal and it is dangerous play. It was deemed dangerous play years and years ago because of the chances of feet hitting heads or studs landing on people.
And the
That's why it's
the
outlawed.
law that applies to that is 9/11. Players must not do anything that is reckless or dangerous to others. Was it anywhere near being reckless or dangerous to others when he jumped for that try?
Yeah.
There we go. There's your question. That's it.
Of course he was.
And that's what should have been looked at.
No, I mean, okay, flip it on. Flip that completely then, right? So he jumps. He doesn't jump high enough, and the tackler takes him out by his ankles because his ankles are now 4 feet off the bloody ground.
And lands on his neck.
And he lands on his head or his neck, and he gets a very serious, potentially career-ending injury. What then? Who gets
I'm not
blamed
saying
then?
you're wrong, but what I'm not saying is there is no law against jumping into the tackle.
No,
There's a law about being reckless and dangerous. And if you look at that tackle where Johnny May's gone up in the air, look how close his feet are to that guy's face.
Yeah.
I
absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
It is not a dive for the line. It is not a dive for the line. Sorry. You don't dive by jumping 4 feet in the air as high as you can get and then coming down head and hand first with the ball. That's not a dive for a try. He could have chosen to go underneath that guy, and he didn't.
Are you a little bit passionate about this now? I can see you getting all wound up about it. But England shouldn't have scored as many points. We all agree with that. They definitely shouldn't. They should have been. In fact, we should take the game away from them and give it to the Italians.
I'll tell you what.
Go on then.
Take a step back. How good was the Italian try in the first 2-3 minutes?
Oh, superb!
An absolute cracking
hadn't
try
got a
from
clue.
Italy. An absolute cracking try from Italy, which the whole team took part in. An absolute cracking try.
But I'm going to come back to May, okay? Because later in the game, after we'd all highlighted the fact that was that a jump or a dive for the line, at least twice more in that game, May, as the ball carrier, tried to jump or skip out of a tackle. He does it all the time, and it is dangerous. And Julian, it may not be written as specific in law, but it is in a law clarification from World Rugby.
Yeah, it is.
That thou shalt not jump out of a tackle.
It is
in fact, in age grade rugby, it's written in as well.
Yeah.
And if that was me and somebody had tried to jump out of a tackle, I always penalise it because everybody in the game knows you can't jump out of a tackle.
So if we had a more experienced referee and a definitely more experienced TMO, would they have stood?
Probably not.
I hope not, because I'm quite dismayed that it did.
Well, I mean, as soon as it happened, I got on the WhatsApp group today and I said he jumped it straight away. First thing I said,
absolutely.
Right? And then, but the only, and you said about mitigating circumstances and all this stuff. I watched it a few times, like everybody else does. He's definitely jumped, right? There is no problem about that. Okay, he's definitely jumped. But if you look where when you jump a tackle, your body will stay straight. Yeah, so you're running and your knees will go up towards your chin. You're jumping over something. His feet, when he jumps, kicks out to the side.
Yeah, now, so if you're diving, your feet kick to the back of you.
But that's because the Italian player was trying to make the tackle.
So he kicks his feet out to the side and lands almost sideways.
It's because he's trying to avoid the tackle.
Because no, because he will avoid the tackle, right? He's trying to avoid the tackle, whether it's diving or jumping, is avoiding the tackle, right? It's how his feet are. If his feet were closer to, diving forward, like
Tom Daly,
a Tom Daly dive, right? Yeah, okay. Then his feet will be behind him, but his feet are to the side of him, so. My only benefit of doubt to give him is that he kicks his feet out away from the player's face.
Okay, I see what you mean. So it makes it slightly less dangerous?
It makes it slightly less dangerous because his feet never actually go near the player's tackling face.
Does it make it any less illegal as an action?
I still think it is a jump.
Yeah.
And I still think
because he did the same later on, midfield.
He did.
Jumped to avoid a tackle. His feet didn't go up to jump. Look at that, like rabbit that is, on the screen. They went sideways like that. So he kicks his hips and flicks his feet out to avoid the tackle, and then he can carry on running. It's not like a hurdle jump, is it, that he does? He flicks his feet out. Anyway, listen, that wasn't the only one, and we are running out of time in this section. But England's first try, double movement, yes or no? Hands up for yes.
Didn't see it. I was watching the ladies' game.
I thought it was a try.
So I'm not convinced it should have been, and I'm not convinced it shouldn't have been. I don't think that the ball carrier who hit the floor then pushed his knees forward, because he was immediately hit up the arse end.
He didn't propel himself forward, did he?
No, I think the other player that joined in is the one who pushed him forward, and that's what made his legs extend. That's my view.
You are allowed to reach the score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to propel yourself.
Yeah,
I don't think he propelled himself. I think the other player did it for him, and then he placed the ball. Now, the other one is, and I know everybody's talked about this at length, especially Nigel Owens in the Daily Mail and on Twitter and on Wales Online and every other media outlet he can find. We love you, Nige. Owen Farrell.
Do you think his dad might give him a phone and tell him off?
No.
He might when he play Ireland.
He should. He should, honestly.
He should, but he won't.
His dad should put him over his knee and spank him. The way that he spoke to the ref, and then sort of had that smarmy look about him afterwards. Even after the conversation had finished, he was still yipping away.
Yeah, he's like a naughty little schoolboy.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Put him in fucking detention, somebody.
That's one of the points about Mikey Adamson. It was his first game, and I don't know. He done enough, but I think if that had been another more experienced referee at that level, that would have been dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Too right. There's no way somebody like, I know we mock Nigel, but there's no way somebody like Nigel would have accepted that. He wouldn't have.
Yeah, but I don't even think Wayne Barnes would have. I don't think he would have carded. I don't think any senior referee would have carded him, but they would have turned around and said, "Owen, talk to me like that again, and you will believe it."
Nigel would have given him that.
On the other hand, would he have spoke if there was a better referee there?
Probably
Agreed.
not.
How many times do you referee low level or whatever it is, and there's a new referee in town? You're gonna chat to him, aren't you? You're gonna chat to him
until he gives it to you both barrels.
Yeah,
fair enough. That's fair.
Okay. And that's what he's basically done. He's just done it. He's just caught on TV. Everybody's got on all of it. It goes against sportsmanship and all this lot. But how many times when there's a weakness of a referee, chip, away you go. Fair play.
Absolutely agree, Pete. On one problem with that though, mate.
You've always got a problem.
In the lower leagues and the national stuff and all the rest of it, it's not televised. It's not being followed by millions of people watching it on TV. He is a player that's looked upon, just like football players like Ronaldo and all the rest of it, all go diving and all that stuff, trying to get the penalties and trying to get free kicks from the refs. And he's speaking out of turn towards a referee where
he's a player
integrity and picking respect is one of the major.
He's a player that's not performing. All right, he's not performing.
Go back to the values of the game.
All right, exactly. So I agree, but he's trying to. He probably regrets it now. I doubt it because he's a bit of a spoiled kid. But
yeah. Well, look, I mean, the thing is, we criticise in rugby, and I'm sure he probably has as well, criticised footballers for the way that they approach referees, the way that they are in their face, and the way that they talk to officials as well. And if we want our sport to be better, then we have to show that from the front. We have to take a lead from our most senior players, international players. He's one of them. He should damn well know better, and he has to change because it is not acceptable. And I hate to say this because it sounds a bit snobbish, but it's not acceptable in our sport. Don't do it.
And he never, ever would have got away with it if he'd come to play at the Stockholm Tens. We just sorted him out in 2 seconds.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be talking about the Stockholm Tens when we come back in a couple of minutes. We'll see you soon. So welcome back to part 3 of this action-packed show tonight, full of rugby, full of chat. But there you go, that's just a normal weekend. We were talking before the break about the Italy-Ireland game. The Italy-England game. We're talking about the head collision, which was, let's face it, a penalty only late challenge. That was Owen just being Owen. And it should have been penalised. It really should have been penalised, which would have left another England try going begging. So I think there's a few things, and I'm sure we'd all agree, there's a few things that England have got to sort out in terms of their discipline.
I think there's one thing that, coming from a Scotsman, we should actually congratulate England on actually winning a game. So well done, England.
Now, while we are talking about that game, because we've talked about this at length on the show for nearly a year now, and that's the danger that exists around the ruck. And we've spoken about, all of these things have happened. We've been tweaking the laws, tweaking the interpretations ever since we introduced the jackler and said you can't ruck people anymore. And quite rightly, you can't ruck people and you can't put boots on body. So we allowed the jackler to make the ruck competitive because it was dull and stationary. But actually what we're doing now is we're injuring more players. So we're stopping people diving in or coming off their feet and tucking their arms like chicken wings, and we're red carding them. But what still remains legal is that crocodile rock. And top teams are getting judo coaches.
You just called an Elton John song illegal.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I love Elton John songs, so no. But this crocodile roll, not crocodile rock, the crocodile roll, and they're getting judo coaches to come in and teach people where to hit and how to roll them over. And we said, that's the difference with a physical injury. You can see it, you can feel it, compared to a head injury where you don't know until it's too late because you can't feel or see it. But that injury again on Jack Willis at the weekend, who is a superb talent, a great young player. That was sickening to see the way his knee went. And of course, the guys at ITV actually refused to show most of the replays because it was so poor. Oh well, so bad. It was a little bit sickening. Something's got to be done because we are going to physically break players in half if this carries on, aren't we?
I mean, the crocodile roll, I don't know why they even said it was bloody legal in the first place.
No.
It's collapsing a fucking ruck. It's taking a ruck and it's collapsing the damn thing. Just get rid of the fucking thing with that one law, which already exists. We don't have to change anything. Just referee the fucking thing.
But
done.
If we got rid of the jackler, then it would be a game for all sizes again.
Go back to old school rucking. You must ruck past the ball to get the ball.
We talked about this a few weeks ago, didn't we? When Willie Heights came back from his injury with Gloucester, and I don't think they won a turnover from jackling at all. But they counter-rucked 3 times in the first half and won all 3. And nobody got trodden on the floor. Nobody got a good shoeing, as we would have all had in the day. These guys literally just rucked over and over and over. They saw the weakness. They saw the fact that the opposition had put players in but weren't protecting the ball, and they just drove them off. And they carried on going past. The next guy goes in, picks the ball up. That's what we should be encouraging, in my view. Proper rucking. A ruck is a competition where the ball is on the floor and it is a pushing contest with players on their feet.
You see a lot more of it in 7s and 10s than you do in 15s these days. Yeah. Massive counter ruck, push them off the ball comes out the back, quick, fast ball. It's great stuff to watch.
Yeah, now, talking of 10s, because I've already been told off in the break, it's not called the Stockholm 10s anymore. No. Jen, what's it called?
It's the Stockholm Rugby Festival now.
What the fucking hell is the difference?
Well, the thing is, we've got mixed touch as well now, and there's been a bit of talk about maybe bringing in 7s. So Rugby Festival kind of covers all our bases there.
So basically, what's happened is it's turned into a gig with some rugby thrown in.
It's still mainly rugby.
Brilliant.
I should hope so.
Brilliant.
Because there's too many that turn into music festivals with
No,
eliminating rugby.
This is just the for the fancy dress party on the Saturday.
Yeah.
With a bit of rugby around it.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. And what date is it?
31st of July and 1st of August that weekend.
Ooh.
Mike, we'll have an old boys tournament, so bring your gum shield.
Interesting.
You know I've got a glass desk. That's like my back these days. It fucking shatter if it got hit anymore.
Were you in a pair of gold shorts then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tackle me!
The last time I saw a man wearing gold shorts, it was on one of those films with Mike Myers. But that's another story.
Yeah.
So listen, Jen, if teams want to register, whether they be touch, 10s or 7s, what do they have to do? Where do they need to go to?
Well, Jules is in charge of getting our website back up and running.
Yeah, not going very well there.
So Jules, where do they have to go and what do they have to do?
I don't quite know yet because I've been given a load of website addresses and none of them can get working because all the code and stuff for the bloody website is on a different address.
And Jules, how well are you getting on with our social media channels?
You haven't even given me the passwords or anything yet, mate. So you tell me. No, you didn't.
On your private WhatsApp a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks. I've got to scroll back all the way to there.
No, I'll send it to you again.
Well, for the Stockholm Rugby Festival, until the website's up and running, you can either search Stockholm Rugby Festival on Facebook or at STHLM Rugby Fest on Instagram and Twitter.
Just say those again, just in case people weren't listening, Jen.
At STHLM Rugby Fest. That's on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll try to help you out with any questions you have. And hopefully we'll get the website up soon so that people can register.
Yeah, we will, won't we, Jules?
We will.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that's men, women's, and is the touch mixed or single sex?
Mixed touch, and
Mixed
we're looking to have both elite and social comps for both the men, the women, and the mixed touch this year. Old boys, we're looking at maybe having an under 18 tournament as well.
Of course, we'll be there. And we will be on centre stage, and we will be doing a live 22
What was that, Jules?
If you're lucky.
Jules, we need a decent fucking audience for a change, mate, and it's the only chance we're going to get. So we're going to come over and we're going to do a live 22 dropouts in Stockholm. The first.
After you survive
I tell you
the
what,
men's tournament.
It'll be the first ever that we will not do a live show until then. How's that? We could do one in May, but we'll save it for the Stockholm Rugby Festival.
Sounds good to me.
It could be the Warsaw Rugby Festival we do that. But
When's
I
that?
can't see that happening.
First weekend in May, isn't it?
Last weekend in May.
Last weekend in May.
Last weekend. We haven't spoken about Ireland, France.
We've only got about 4 minutes. And it's
Oh,
already,
Ireland, France.
Well, we better cover it.
I suppose, yeah.
Just do something that's going to be quick on the Ireland France game because not Sam.
Cool.
So Pete, as you've just introduced the Ireland France game, should we talk about that?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I think we should talk about the Ireland France game.
Good lad. So Pete, leaders in the Ireland France game, mate.
Entertaining game, good for rugby, well refereed. And yeah, that was basically what it was. The bit I liked was Luke speaking bilingual in every sentence.
Yep.
Right, and he'll go, roll away, le bleu. or be careful, bloqueur.
Yeah, bloqueur. Yeah, I mean, yeah, arrête bloqueur. I wet my pants, I tell you what. His franglais was awesome.
It was.
Well done, but just take more French lessons, Luke, please. And with the West Country accent.
He was cracking. He had a good game.
Yeah, and I think isn't that the first time because normally he's just West Country English. Yeah. I think, if memory serves right, that's the first time he's brought any French into.
I think
his
so. Yeah.
No, he's put a few lâché and lâche and
has he really?
Yeah. But he's never spoken as much French in games before, and I'm pretty sure Barnsley's been teaching him.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is fucking worrying, to say the least. If Barnes has been teaching him French, that's a problem.
The only bit that concerned me was when he said, "It's fine, it's okay." He jumped into the tackle. No.
No. We saw that yesterday. No.
You can't do that.
And I know what that lot said about it yesterday. So why are you allowing it to do it today?
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's the question then. When he does an Italian game, how many of you think he's going to learn Italian?
You have to do this all the time.
Yeah, just speak with your hands.
Hey.
Hey,
Anyway.
prego.
No, I mean, the whole thing about it all was, I mean, like, it was a great spot by Christoph for the trip.
That was a good spot, actually, yeah.
Because if anybody else was refereeing that, I mean, not anybody else, but the Joe Blogs are refereeing it, they would have just thought the guy was just running his lines. He knew what he was doing, tripping him over.
It was so subtle because it was a clip of the heel, wasn't it? It's not like a proper trip like we saw last week, was it? Where you get drummed and your leg goes out at 90 degrees to kick.
He run that line and just run across his feet.
It's just run across and clipped his heel.
He knew exactly what he was doing. Very good catch by the AR. Very good catch by the AR. However, 40 minutes half time. Did that not dumb schmuck try it again?
I don't know which game were you watching, Sam?
The same bloody game you're talking about, you dumbass.
At half time, Sam, at 40 minutes, they do replay the same thing again to go over what happened.
Yeah, it was just a replay, Sam.
Right at half time, as the whistle was about to be blown, the guy, the same player, number 4 or whatever it was, he came back round after coming from a ruck and he put his foot out and tripped up the number 9 from Ireland. He went and done it again. It was caught as well. It's on Facebook and all.
It's on.
If it's on Facebook, it must be true.
Yeah, it must be.
It's on all the channels, like Wales Online, so that's really trustworthy. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, if it's on Wales Online, I wouldn't believe a word of it.
No, it's on.
Jules, you love Wales
he did it
Online.
Again.
Jules gets all his news from Wales Online, don't you, mate?
It's shite.
You did it again.
So just to recap, it was a yellow card. My thing about tripping, you just don't know where the player's going to land. And that's classed as dangerous play.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
And Luke was dead right. He said, if it's a trip, it's going to be a yellow because that's the law.
Too right. Yeah, because if he gets away with it once with the penalty only, guess what he's going to do again? Yeah,
but then you're sanctioned higher. But it's more to the point is that you don't know. You've got to look after the play. You don't know where that person's going to land.
No. And it's also that danger of where the contact and how that affects their run, their landing, and everything else. You're right, Pete. It is incredibly dangerous. Don't do it. And for any kids out there watching, wanting to emulate your heroes, don't do it.
So going on, because he just tapped him, didn't he, with his foot? I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? He just tapped him with his foot. Now there was a player got tackled in the Scotland-Welsh game.
Yeah.
Running at full speed. And he just tapped his foot and he went down like a sack of shit, right? A brilliant tackle. Yeah. The only difference is the foot and the hand. They still don't know where they're going to land.
You make a really good point, Pete. What's the difference in terms of outcome?
Yeah, there's a skill to actually doing a tap tackle. There's no skill to tripping someone up.
But
I think it's the fact that it's deemed to be devious if you trip somebody up. It's sort of cheating, isn't it?
No, because if they said you can tackle people by tripping people up, right? God, it'd be fucking carnage.
It'd be like the Premier League, mate. They'd all be sliding in with their studs up.
So the whole point is that if you are tap tackled, it looks really good, right? I mean, that's okay. But if you trip somebody else, you don't know where to land.
It looks really bad, yeah. That's the difference. Anyway, listen, before we go, because I know we talked a lot about the internationals, and there's been plenty of other rugby this weekend. Jules, you didn't watch the first game this weekend because you were busy watching the Quins Loughborough women's game, weren't you?
I was. Well, I had the England game on in the corner on the laptop, but I watched the Quins ladies game, which was a cracker, absolute blinder of a match. And I mean, Loughborough went ahead, Quins came back, Loughborough went ahead again, Quins came back. It was just back and forth constantly. It was absolutely throwing the ball around everywhere. And the Loughborough back row were absolutely on fire most of the game, and their front row at the end as well. They were just piling. It was absolutely top game of rugby. Missing scrums for knock-ons, but nothing we can do about that with the current regulations.
Yeah, so they're currently playing a very slightly adapted version of the laws, aren't they? Because of COVID.
So knock-ons,
but listen,
any knock-ons or stop mauls, they're going to be or any knock-ons on all forward passes are a free kick, but you're not allowed to go quickly.
Yeah,
so you have to wait until you get back.
Does it change in the attack in 22? Was that just mauls?
No, it's just mauls and held ups are still scrums.
Okay, cool.
and not straight in the line out. They can take the scrum option as well.
Right, but only in the attack in 22.
No.
Oh right, okay. No. So I've not done any of the women's premiership.
I don't think so. Anyway, I haven't paid that much attention to it, to be honest, because we're not playing that here.
But to be
the
fair,
game was a cracker.
If you want entertaining rugby, and I know it's not on mainstream TV, and there's a reason for that, is because it was put on, and then when they surveyed people and asked them what they watch it on, most people were not watching it on 24/7 Sports or whatever on their telly. They were watching it online, and that's why it went that way.
Yeah. The only downside to the game was the Swedish captain picked up an injury. She was playing. She was starting for the Quins.
Jen, I didn't know you were playing for Quins.
But Torba was. She picked up a head knock during the game, so she went to hospital. She's all right.
Right, that's a shame. But if you do want to watch some entertaining rugby, then seriously, it's on YouTube. Go and watch it. It's some of the rugby that you get in the Premier 15s for the women is absolutely top notch.
I mean, the best try this weekend I've seen was from a clip from the Bristol Bears game, women's game, and it was Sydney Pam, one of the props for the Bears, picks up the old ball, gets the ball outside her own 22, and goes length of the pitch. She's fucking prop. She was lightning fast. She outpaced the bloody fullback from the opposition.
Yeah,
I think that's just what happens when we don't have to spend all our time in scrums,
or in the gym doing weights.
Wait, hold on. So Jen, you're now giving somebody an excuse that they were out of position on the wing. Because that is in theory what she was doing. She was having a rest.
I mean,
well, then again, wasn't Alan Wynne-Jones caught out?
I will score it on the wing, so.
I was just about to say the same as you there, Mike. Alan Wynne-Jones was caught
Alan Wynne-Jones was properly caught out on the wing in his game, and he looked like a complete turd burger out there and got dicked. So that's why when you're really fucking slow and lanky, don't go and stand on the wing thinking you're going to get a breather, because sometimes it comes and bites you on the ass.
Do what the other Bristol Bears prop did. She was
fuck that. I've just finished on the bombshell. I've finished on the bombshell and you've ruined it, Jules. Go on.
The bombshell is this. England won a game.
On that bombshell, we'll see you next week. Good night.